They called him a burden, a slave, an outsider. But before he died, he became the most feared and respected king in the land. This is the untold story of King Buka of Yoruba. Long before his name was carved into stone and sung by traders across distant lands, Buka was only a fragile boy of 10, born into hardship in a small, forgotten village. His parents had him at an age when strength had already begun to fail them. His father was often sick, his body weakened by years of labor, while his mother lived in constant fear of the day she would be left alone with a child she could barely protect. From an early age, Buka learned that survival did not wait for childhood to pass. He worked tirelessly, fetching water, running errands, carrying loads far heavier than his young frame deserved. He did not complain. Hunger taught him silence, and hardship taught him discipline. When his father finally died, grief struck the household like a storm. Not long after, his mother followed, her heart unable to bear the weight of loss. Orphan and alone, Buka became invisible to those who should have protected him. No aunt. No uncle. The elders turned their faces away. To them, his parents had been a burden in life, and now the child was no different. With nothing left in the village but memories and rejection, Buka made a decision no child should ever have to make. He left. Barefoot and determined, he traveled with other villagers toward lands they had never seen, chasing rumors of opportunity and food. But fate was cruel. Along the road, they were ambushed, kidnapped and sold into forced labor in a distant land where mercy was rare and survival was earned through sweat. Buka worked as a slave, but he never surrendered his mind. While his body labored, his eyes observed. He watched traders negotiate, studied numbers, memorized routes, and learned the language of commerce. He understood value, timing, and trust long before he ever understood comfort. His owner, Mr. Odolo, a wealthy and respected merchant, noticed the boy's sharp intelligence. Unlike others, Buka was calm, precise, and reliable. Over time, Odolo entrusted him with responsibilities beyond labor, handling goods, overseeing transactions, and traveling on trade routes. By the age of 29, Buka had risen from slave laborer to trusted merchant, still legally under his master, yet powerful in influence. When Mr. Odolo died, he left behind vast businesses drowning in debt. Many believed the empire would collapse. But Buka did what no one expected. He paid every debt. He reorganized trade routes, expanded partnerships, and strengthened the business until it became one of the most powerful trading networks in the region. Wealth followed success, and so did enemies. Indigenous merchants, men born into power, despised the idea that a former slave now controlled the market. Among them stood Mr. Ogum, a man driven by greed and pride. Their rivalry was not just about business, it was about dominance, territory, and control. Ogum believed no outsider deserved such power. Then chaos struck. A mysterious fire destroyed Buka's assets. Attacks followed. The market descended into unrest. While peace talks were called publicly, Buka understood the danger beneath the smiles. Quietly and strategically, he made a bold decision. He left. Taking his remaining assets, his loyal workers, and their families, Buka journeyed far away and founded a new settlement. He named it Yoruba. In Yoruba, Buka ruled differently. He paid workers fairly, protected his people fiercely, and built trust. He constructed schools, hospitals, and trade centers. Only carefully approved outsiders were allowed positions of influence. His authority was absolute, but it was rooted in order, vision, and loyalty. Yoruba flourished. Buka became king, not by inheritance, but by merit. His wealth surpassed that of many lands combined. Some tried to bypass his trade routes. He responded with strict enforcement. There were battles. Lives were lost. But Yoruba remained secure. Peace, however, never lasts where jealousy grows. Mr. Ogum returned, forming alliances with neighboring lands, including King Okom of Ohozora, claiming Yoruba sat on disputed ancestral land. They demanded Buka step down or surrender control of trade. Instead, Buka negotiated. A blood contract was signed. Yoruba would remain his, while land and labor profits would be shared with King Orphan. But greed ignored agreements. Attacks resumed even before the blood dried. When a final peace meeting was called, Buka attended, only to be betrayed. He was arrested, accused of being a foreign slave disrupting trade order. The land erupted into war. Villages that had benefited from Buka's leadership rose in protest. Months of bloodshed followed. At last, the only way to end the war was his release. King Buka was freed. But he never returned home alive. On the journey back to Yoruba, he fell ill. Some said sickness. Others whispered poison. By the time his body reached his people, their king was gone. Yoruba mourned deeply. To honor him, they built 2 statues, one at the village gate and another in the village square, so generations would remember King Buka of Yoruba, the man who turned resistance into legacy.